I need to get this out there right off the bat. I'm trying to grow a beard. Not really a beard, but more just like a goatee. I can't actually grow anything on my cheeks. I can grow a really, really terrible moustache. I have tried for many years to actually grow some facial hair. I've never had much success, but I'm giving it a go, damn it. So please excuse the horrible mess on my chin. Now let's get into the video. Thank you. Fats Waller was known for being a prolific composer, writing over 600 songs throughout the 1920s and into the early 1940s. Two of his more well-known songs include Ain't Misbehavin' and today's featured song Honeysuckle Rose, composed in 1929. Waller was known for a very specific style of piano playing known as stride. A very challenging, fast-paced playing style which involved playing broken chords in the left hand, often separated by several octaves. In the 1920s and 30s, stride piano was all the rage. It's gone somewhat out of fashion these days, but Fats Waller's tunes are still played today, but with a more modern jazz style. Honeysuckle Rose has a 32-bar AABA form. The key signature has 1 flat, B flat, signifying we're in the key of F major. In the first line, we see the progression G minor 7, C7 in every bar. This is a 2-5 progression in the key of F, with the expected 1 chord left out. In line 2, we finally resolve to the 1 chord, followed by the 1 chord as a secondary dominant 7th. This chord functions as the 5 chord of the 4 chord, B flat. So naturally, the 4 chord is next, followed by the sharp 4 diminished chord. The A section wraps up with the 1 chord again, the 4 chord as a dominant 7th, which gives the progression a bit of a bluesy flavour, and sets up to repeat the A section again with a 3-6 progression, or a 2-5 into the 2 chord. The second A section is the same, except for the final bar where the 1 chord F major 7 is repeated. In the B section, we see a 2-5-1 to the 4 chord B flat major 7, followed by a G7 chord. A G chord in the key of F is usually minor, like G minor 7, but here it's another secondary dominant 7th. In the key of F, we can analyze this chord as the 5 chord of the 5 chord. And of course, this sets up the actual 5 chord C7, returning once more to the final A section. The final A section is identical to the first A section. For this tune, I wanted to focus on bassline construction over the 2 5s in the first line of each A section. Now, there are several ways to do this in a melodic fashion, but we'll discuss them as we go through.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
In the first chorus of this bass line, we're playing a 2-feel in the A sections and a 4-feel or walking bass in the B section. This is a fairly common way of playing the bass over the first chorus of this particular tune, at least when the melody is being played. We play 2-feel in the A sections and 4-feel in the B section. Okay, so starting off, a simple 2-feel. Mostly just playing root notes and just going with the chord progression in general. Here it always sounds nice to go to the 5th on F major 7 because the bass line's leading there anyway. Back down. More roots. Going up the octave. Okay, so really not too much to talk about with that 2-feel in the first 2 A sections. Now for the 4-feel in the B section, just your basic walk up to F7 and then F major triad on F7. Walking up B flat major 7 arpeggio. And then we're going to play B flat 2 times and then walk down A flat to the root of G7. Now that's a very common walking line where we're actually playing a walk up, but before we do that we're playing a drop. Right, so if we take that G down the octave, that's a very common walking line, but where we're playing the G up the octave and we're adding in this drop. Same thing again, nice drop down to the A flat and the G. C major triad with a 9, and then descending, A flat again, and that's the walking line in the B section. Last A section for the chorus bass line, we're going back to a 2-feel again. So we've talked about that type of triplet before, where we're not playing the first note in that triplet. So the way that you have to think about this is count beat 2 in your head, 1, 2, 3. So you've got to get that subdivision of the triplet in your mind. 1, 1, 2 and a 3. 1 triple and bum. 1 triple and 3. 1 triple and 3. Okay, 1 triple and 3. Back to half notes. All the way up to this high F. This is the same triplet, but now we're holding this F over into beat 2. And then a big drop in the style of Ray Brown all the way down to the open A. And that is the final 2-feel for the opening chorus. The A sections, as we discussed in the form section of this video, is almost entirely a 2/5 progression in the key of F. So one thing that we can do with a 2/5 progression is think about common notes between both of those chords. And so G minor 7, G, B flat, D, F, and C7, C, E, G, B flat, have two notes that are in common, two notes that are in both chords, and that is G and B flat. So here's the chords again. G, B flat, D, F, and C, E, G, B flat. So since both chords have two notes in common, we can use those notes to help us to pivot between the chords in a way that's a bit more melodic. So we don't, in this way, we don't always have to go to the root note of every chord when the chord changes. Our lines can be a bit more melodic and a bit more interesting in that way. So let's kind of see how that works. I'll be targeting that G and B flat note a little bit more in these lines as we go through. So let's go from the top of chorus 2. B flat, B flat on C7. Okay, and we'll keep walking through this line. Okay, second A section. Have a look at what we do here. Walk up to B flat, down to C, and now in these two bars, let's check this out. Now that line almost sounds like we're just playing G minor 7 for the entirety of this bar, and C7 for this bar. And basically that is what we're doing. So in these two bars, what I'm saying is I don't actually mind if I don't play G minor 7, C7, 2 beats a peach.
500 points a peach, 100 a peach.
I got a peach! I got a peach!
Okay.
2 beats a piece. I'm playing G minor for the first bar and C7 for the second bar. So I'm simplifying the chord progression just a little bit, and that's a perfectly viable way to walk bass as well. You can do that too. And final line of this A section, 2 double notes, sort of pivoting back and forth between that high F and this sort of walk up, drop to an A, to a B flat, to a B. And now we're going to do a leading note or passing note into C, and then the major 7 into F, and just a simple walk up into the B section for C minor. Okay, going on to the B section. 5th open string to shift, descending to the 5th of F7. Now for the 1 chord on this 2-5-1, we're going to do a major 7 leap up to A, root, then E natural, F, A, B flat, F sharp and G. So what we're doing is we're playing a half step leading note into each of these notes. Half step leading note into B flat, into F, into low B flat, and into low G with a bit of movement with the 8th notes. Descending to the root of D minor. That little rhythmic pattern there, playing the 5th, and I'm just pulling the finger off of the A to the open G, but at the same time with the right hand, I'm going to make a pluck on the 3rd beat. So it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Can make a little exercise out of it. And then the same pattern that we saw on B flat major 7, half step leading notes into the 5th, 3rd, root, root of G minor, last A section. We're going to go a bit further up the bass now with this final A section. Open D, shift, harmonic. 3rd of C7, root. 3rd, 2nd of G minor, 5th of C7, shift back, 4, then we're just going to walk down F major, E, D, C, open E. Okay, and just wrapping this up. F major triad. Half steps, back and forth, drop, and a walk back up to G minor. That's all I have for you today. If you'd like to download the full 4-chorus walking bass line, you can find it on my Patreon page in both standard and tab notations. Thanks so much for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.